When was the last time you woke up in the morning and thought, everything is going exactly the way I wanted? Your health is fine, you have enough time, and money isn't weighing on you, and the people who matter are by your side. If that was just recently, then that's great. But if it was a long time ago, then the next half hour or so might be very interesting for you. My name is Yuriy Matyash. I've been in the network marketing industry for 17 years, and I won't be selling you anything today. I'll simply show you how I see things and why Healthy Home became a logical choice for me. And, well, you'll decide for yourself whether this resonates with you or not. There's a phrase, welcome home. When I first heard it as the company's slogan, I thought about it. Because it's not about an office, not about an address. It's about a feeling, specifically the feeling you get when you arrive somewhere and you feel really good there. Not because you were greeted in some special or beautiful way, but because you feel that everything here is familiar and the people around you are your own. Here you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Here it's calm enough, it's clear. And this is the feeling people describe when they come to our company, Healthy Home, to the Starway team. Some people come for the product, some for additional opportunities, and some, at a certain point, just feel that something needs to change, and that's where the real thing is. That's what we call home. So welcome home. We're not just building a company, we're building a home. And over 17 years, I've seen many teams, many companies, and the difference between a good team or company and just a group of people with a shared chat is always some special environment, a unique feeling, an atmosphere, the way people treat each other, the way they behave when something goes wrong or not according to plan. And for me, Healthy Home is above all this environment, this atmosphere, a place where people feel comfortable being there, comfortable growing, where you can make mistakes and not be judged for it, and where everyone supports each other. And the success of one person doesn't put pressure on others, but actually motivates them, just as we strive to do. That's exactly why people stay with us for a long time. And, I've been observing for a long time how people's attitudes toward health are changing. I've been in the wellness industry for 17 years now, so I've had the opportunity to watch this for quite a while. And probably 10 or 15 years ago, this was mostly a topic for those who were already sick. In other words, if you went to the doctor, it meant something had already happened. If everything is fine, no one goes anywhere or does anything about it. Today, things are different. People in their 30s are already seriously thinking about how they will feel when they're 50 and older. People in their 50s don't want to look or feel like they're 50, so it's not just a trend for a healthy lifestyle, it's much, much deeper than that. People have started to realize that quality of life is not something that just happens on its own. It doesn't occur automatically. It's something we choose. That's exactly why this industry is growing so rapidly. And it's not because of a ton of advertising or lots of flashy promotions, but because the demand is real and genuine. And if you look at the numbers, the picture becomes even more interesting because more than 40% of the world's population right now are people over 40 years old. And this group holds the majority of the world's capital. And these people don't just want to get treated and live out their days. They want to stay active, energetic, and resourceful for as long as possible. They just want to live an awesome life. That's exactly why analysts are now talking about a multi-trillion-dollar industry, even tens of trillions. And this isn't a short-term story. It's a long, real, and sustainable trend. And at times like these, it's very important to be in the right place. When an industry is truly as serious as we've described, very serious money flows into it. One such investor is Fort Orchard Security, headquartered in Utah, and that's no coincidence. Utah is considered the world capital of network marketing. About 80% of major network marketing companies are connected specifically to the wellness industry. Orchard looked at this market and saw not just hype, but a truly powerful strategic long-term opportunity and created a company that would operate at a high level and for the long haul. For me, this is a personally important point because I pay very close attention to who is behind a company, since the foundation determines everything else. In other words, the foundation is always much more important than the facade of any building. And I think that right now, in front of the screen, there are people with different backgrounds, different goals, and different feelings. Some people came out of an interest in health, some are looking for extra income, and some, at a certain point, just felt that they wanted something different. Not sure what, but something different. And if you strip away all the details, then probably one thing unites us: we really just want to feel good in our lives. For some, again, it's about energy and health. For others, it's financial stability and freedom of choice. For some, it's the sense of a certain meaning in what we do. And I like that at Healthy Home, we have all of this under one roof. Everything is brought together in one system, in one rhythm, in one team. Now, let's talk about the product our company offers. The product for Healthy Home is not just a supplement, not just another capsule. It's the result of a specific conscious approach to health. And at its core lies the main idea: not to add something from the outside, but to help the body function the way it knows how, the way it did when it was young, when it is young. Not to interfere, not to do things for it, but to work together with it, to support it. And one of the key focuses of the technology is related to the activation of stem cells, and that's exactly what we'll talk about next. Stem cells are one of the most important discoveries in modern health science. It sounds rather complicated, but in reality, the idea is quite simple. These are cells that can transform into any other cells in the body. In other words, wherever restoration is needed, wherever help is required, these cells are directed there by the body. This is the foundation of the body's natural renewal. Technologies for working with stem cells have existed for quite some time, but in clinics it costs from $5,000 to $50,000. Healthy Home has made this very, very accessible for everyone. That is, there is a specific figure that is important to understand. By the age of 40 or 50, we already have 60% fewer stem cells than we once had. And this explains why, after 40, many of us notice that recovery is slower, we have less energy, it's harder to stay in shape, and we feel more tired. All of this is because of that. And Healthy Home has offered a solution that is now available to the vast majority, whereas before it was only accessible to a select few. Smart, natural, and in a daily format. And now we have Stem Active. This is the company's flagship product. It is a premium stem cell activator. It's also important to understand that this is not just a marketing promise. There are clinical studies confirming an increase in circulating stem cells by up to 60%, which in numerical terms means 5 to 7 million additional cells in our bloodstream. The composition is very simple, yet highly exclusive and unique. It contains Madagascan aloe, Tibetan sea buckthorn, and blue-green Klamath algae. What was once available only in expensive clinics and only to a select few can now be taken every day in a very accessible form, which comes in two formats: capsules for those who prefer the familiar classic form, and gel for those who like to take it on the go. That is, the gel can be taken right on the move without water. It is light and has a very pleasant taste. And this is actually an important detail because any modern product should fit into our lives, not require us to change our lives for it. Go home, drink some water, take a pill, and so on. And perhaps a little unexpectedly for some, but very important for many, Stem Active is also available in a form for animals. Stem Active Pets is the same stem cell technology adapted specifically for pets. In the Healthy Home philosophy, home is a place where everyone who lives there is cared for. In animals, stem cells are responsible for exactly the same functions and work just as they do in us. And now we can support their health at the same level as our own. Prime is a nitric oxide activator, nitric oxide. To put it simply and briefly, it is responsible for ensuring that blood vessels function properly. Blood flow, arterial flexibility, capillary permeability. And this is especially important in combination with Stem Active because stem cells move through the circulatory system and Prime makes this pathway more open. People immediately notice more energy, clearer thinking, and better recovery because blood flow improves to all organs, including the brain. Balance is a product for women's health. The topic of hormonal balance is not just a story for women over 50. And already after 30, under the influence of stress and the modern pace of life, many people start to notice changes such as problems with energy, sleep, mood, and skin condition. Balance is a transdermal complex that is applied to thin areas of the skin and simply rubbed in. In other words, this is a completely plant-based formula without any synthetic hormones, and once again, it works with the body, supporting its natural processes. Three things make this formula special. As I already mentioned, it's a plant-based formula. It works together with the body, not instead of it. Nanoshield technology, meaning the active ingredients and the transdermal formula work and penetrate into the cells, bypassing the digestive system. And scientifically proven effectiveness, meaning this is not just a marketing claim. When balance is restored, hormones return to normal, energy comes back, there's a sense of calm and inner strength, which is exactly what's important when dealing with these issues. A few words about what's ahead, what's coming soon. Healthy Home is not just a static product line. New products are constantly being released. Amaze Premium Marine Collagen and AU12. This is a powerful antioxidant that you will be able to buy. So these are the two products we are expecting. For me, what matters is the approach itself, that products are released not just quickly, but at the right time. In other words, not for the sake of hype, but for results, complementing the product line with specific necessary solutions for people. This is exactly how companies are built for the long term. And of course, behind beautiful words and promises, there must be a real foundation. Healthy Home manufactures its products in the USA at facilities registered with the FDA, operates according to CGMP standards, plus additional independent external standards. So these are not just badges for marketing, but about transparency. It's about giving our families and children something that is absolutely verified. Then Healthy Home is not just about products, it's also a business. Moreover, it's a business with choices. We can be a customer, we can be a partner, we can build a full-fledged business, and all on our own terms. And that's why we say your business, your way. In other words, no one forces us into any one specific model. For some people, additional income might be important. For others, it's greater freedom, a larger scale, or even a truly powerful long-term business. So your business, your way, is not just a slogan, it's a real working principle, which we're about to share with you now. At Healthy Home, there isn't just one but several sources of income, and this provides a certain flexibility, because at each stage, everyone can take advantage of one format or another. That is, naturally, we start with quick bonuses for the first orders when we don't yet have a structure. Then the focus shifts to team income, and you start building a more or less stable income. Those people who succeed in leadership, they already receive rewards for developing people. And in addition, of course, there is income from clients, a share in the overall turnover, and a leadership bonus. So here you can start earning right away, from the very first days, from the very first moments, while simultaneously building a long-term model. And all of this works together as a system in parallel. Quick money and stable income, we build them in parallel, and I want to share something personal probably. Over 17 years, I have seen different companies. Some flared up brightly and ended quickly, while others were built slowly and are still around to this day. And for me, Healthy Home is exactly the second kind of story. That is, not quickly, not with hype, not loudly, but rather slowly, beautifully, systematically, and without any particular illusions. The company that you can pass on to your children. This is my personal standard when I choose who to build with. Perhaps the most remarkably unique and incredibly appealing aspect of network marketing for me is the realization that time stands as the single most precious resource that you simply cannot accumulate. And as a result, you can only ever try to reclaim some sense of authority and mastery over its passing. And so, Healthy Home network marketing, it's not just about income, it's really about having the opportunity to choose your own lifestyle, to decide how you actually live, how much you work, who you spend your time with, who you work with, who you meet with, or even who you choose not to meet with. To be with your family as much as you want and to travel practically non-stop. Not someday in the future, not maybe if it works out, but simply just living at your own pace, not someone else's, not one imposed on you by others, but truly your own. We are not just building a business, we are creating a lifestyle, a conscious way of living, I would say, a truly free one. This is probably the only industry that gives every person the opportunity to experience this. Not with some kind of super opportunities, but truly for every person. And there is a program, for example, Dream Passport to Paradise. It's not just about travel, but rather the very concept of the business itself, as I already mentioned, where it is integrated into your life, not existing separately from it, yes. That is, People who have a traditional business understand that life is life and business is something separate, which either interferes with living or life interferes with business. But in Healthy Home, those same trips are not some kind of one-time reward or one-off travels. They are the result of systematic work and a long-term journey. In other words, we build a model in which life, work, travel, and growth all exist as a system rather than being in conflict with each other. And we don't do this alone, because we move forward as a team, and alongside us are people who genuinely think in the same way, in a similar manner, and move at the same pace as we do. Some go faster, some slower, but we support each other, we do everything as a team. And the last time we were in Hawaii, and it was really awesome. Unforgettable feelings when you're just sitting by the ocean, walking along these beautiful streets, and next to you are people with whom you've gone through this journey, and everything feels absolutely natural, cool, and genuine. It doesn't feel like some kind of once-in-a-lifetime vacation. You realize that this is the part, the life, that you truly built yourself. I mean, for us, it's not just life, it's life in network marketing. Business isn't a replacement for life, it gently supports life. We really move at our own pace, with our own lifestyle, and every time it's some new place. We don't just go somewhere to pass the time, take a cruise, or relax. We go to meet and spend time with people with whom we share much more than just business. I think when each of us meet, look at each other, glance through the photos, we realize that all of this isn't just a bonus. It's the real, awesome, genuine life that we live together thanks to this wonderful business and project. And freedom is a word that many people talk about, that many wish for, but most are still very far from it. Because freedom isn't just some pretty words, it's when you truly live at your own pace, when you decide completely for yourself when to work, when to rest, who to spend time with, or whether to spend time with anyone at all. For many of us, this has always been a dream, and now it serves as a kind of guiding star. But for many, it has already become a reality. And I always say that any business, any occupation, any project is not just about money. It's always about choice, about the freedom to choose, about how you live your life every single day. And today, our Starway team is a team where results are not just words, they are a fact. Today, Starway is one of the most decorated Healthy Home teams in the world. Many partners have achieved the diamond qualification and above. This is quite rare, but the most important thing isn't even the titles. The most important thing is the attitude towards people. Because as I already said, there is no competition here. We don't compete with anyone. We are genuinely happy when people grow, when people surpass us. This is absolutely in the nature of our business and our team. In other words, we don't compete with anyone. We help each other. The success of one person motivates another to succeed. It doesn't put pressure on anyone or make anyone feel uncomfortable, and so on. So Starway is growing confidently, growing steadily, and for the long term. And we also meet in person, New York, Miami, Los Angeles. These are not just meetings, these are our gathering points where we decide, understand, and reaffirm why we are here, where we are going next, how we are moving forward, motivate each other, share strategies, plans, and energy. And when you look at these faces, you'll see people from different countries, different states, sometimes even different continents. In other words, completely different backgrounds and walks of life. But we are united by one thing. We came here to build something serious because there are rarely random people at these events. So this is what Starway is. We are Starway, and we look forward to meeting again next time in August. So if you're thinking right now, I want to understand more deeply, I want to see it in person, I want to meet the people, you have a wonderful opportunity, a concrete opportunity, because New York on August 1st and 2nd will be in New York. The entire Starway team will be there, or at least its active members who are coming, the company's administration, and some representatives. So you will see Healthy Home in its entirety, Starway in its entirety, absolutely live, absolutely unfiltered. So I invite you, if you join us before this wonderful event, it will be the best thing that can happen to you, because in just a few months you will have a fantastic opportunity to see everything live, to really feel it, and to start your journey with a completely different energy. In other words, it's great, it's really great to join and get to know all of us soon, because this doesn't happen often. And now a bit of statistics. HealthyHome officially launched in 2024. We are already operating in many countries, which means that you are getting in at a time when the company is just gaining momentum. That is, all the growth, all the success stories that already exist, but even more are still ahead. The biggest things are just beginning, still to come. And right now is truly a unique, rare moment to be at the very beginning of this wonderful story. In other words, not to be catching up, but to take part in creating this beautiful, amazing story. And right now, we are at the point where everything is just being laid out. As always, it starts with the foundation, then comes acceleration, growth, and only after that does stability arrive. And by the way, most people only join when the company's story has already been written. And right now, we truly have a rare, unique opportunity to be among those who are writing this story. Not to come when everything has already been written, but to be the ones writing the story. And in time, this very period will be remembered as the starting point, the beginning of something big. And we were there for it. We built this, we wrote this wonderful story. In other words, that's truly valuable. You know, in life, we rarely regret what we've done. More often, we regret what we never dared to do. We wanted to try, but we didn't. There was an opportunity, it looked good, but somehow we just passed it by. Today, there is a chance. You have a real chance, not a perfect one, not with guarantees, but a truly genuine one. Ask yourself one question. What if I try? What if everything works out? I don't know exactly what brought you here, but you've watched until the end. That means something resonated with you, something matched, something struck a chord. Don't rush to conclusions. Talk to the person who shared this video with you. Or if you're watching here now, ask your questions. The best decisions in my life have never been made under any kind of pressure. They have always been made when I clearly understood, figured things out, and felt that it was truly mine. I hope that this moment has come for you or will come soon. So friends, welcome home.